Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today. My name is James Henderson, and I'll be presenting the webinar on standardizing process modeling for client delivery. We'll be getting started here in just 1 minute. And let's get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is James Henderson, and I'll be presenting today on standardized process modeling for client delivery. So during this webinar, we're really going to focus this on consulting practices and the use of a standardized platform to build BPMN compliant models faster, allow you to reuse them across client engagements, and understand the benefits of having an all-in-one tool as you look to do business process improvement for your clients. We'll go through the webinar itself, and as part of the webinar, we're going to flip over to our software platform, the mindzie platform, and specifically our BPMN Studio, to show you some of the features and benefits of using an all-in-one platform, and talk about some of the use cases and show you specifically how to apply the different tool sets within the platform to gain advantages when you're doing these client engagements. If you do have any questions along the way, please feel free to type them into the meeting chat, and we'll get them answered as we go along. So let's dive right in. So first of all, why even look at a tool for standardizing process modeling for your clients? And the reality is, one of the challenges that we see time and time again as we bring new consulting partners on to using the mindzie platform is this concept that every single client engagement starts with a blank canvas. That every time we're engaging with a client and we're starting this business process improvement projects and we're starting to do work for them, we're really starting from scratch. And the reality is, as you know, as a consultant, starting from scratch is costly. It costs time, it costs resources. And the reality for most engagements that you get into, not all, but many, is that you don't need to start from scratch. A lot of the work that you've done can and should be reused when it's not proprietary to your client across different client engagements as a starting point. You know, what's one of the most common things you hear from clients? What is industry standard, right? What are best practices? What should I be doing, or what should I be building into my processes to make sure that we are a world-class organization? And these are some of the things that you bring as a consultant to your client engagements and some of the things that a client wants out of you. So when you think about that concept and how you can best deliver it to a client, you're talking about really delivering that tribal knowledge that you've built up over the years of how to do best practice models for HR onboarding, for materials management, for suppliers onboarding, whatever it might be, and applying them as part of that customer engagement and really merging those best practice models with how the client operates and seeing how you can get a synergistic and best optimized model at the end of the day. So with a standard business process modeling tool, you're able to go beyond starting from scratch, right? And try and eliminate some of those inconsistent standards and some of those models that are trapped sitting in inboxes and Visio files and other things that aren't really reusable across different engagements. And that's where having a single platform comes in. You can not only can you reuse the models across different organizations, you get a single source of truth that you can access that contains all of your models, that is easy to review, searchable, and allows you to reuse models where it makes sense across different client engagements. So you get one repository or one library now that you can leverage with standard BPMN notation. So this really allows you to make your work repeatable. And as we think about that, one of the most important things, of course, is we want to move from proprietary modeling standards. Still, even today, we see a lot of organizations using things like Visio, PowerPoint, and all kinds of different things to draw out and store models. And of course, we can talk about this in another webinar, but the importance of having the models is essential for organizations, right? And you as consultants know this because you deliver it and you remind organizations all the time. But there are so many reasons why it is so important to have these models documented. Compliance obviously being a major one, but one of the ones that I talk with executives all the time about that they forget is getting that tribal knowledge that's in the head of Joe or John or Smith or whoever it might be in the organization that knows how things should work, documented. So that if they ever leave, if they retire, you don't lose that tribal knowledge when they walk away. And putting it in BPMN 2.0 standard ensures that it is compliant across all tool sets, including Mindsie's. So you understand that now you have this standard notation that companies can work across, that is consistent with industry standard, that is reusable across platforms. So for instance, even if you use the Mindzie platform to develop them and they have a different system internally, these files can be delivered to the client and they can import them right into whatever tool that they have access to. So it means that we're now using standard industry models, we're documenting the work, it's validated across consistent and proper standard documentation and notation, and it's consistent across teams and audit ready. So many different things that you get as part of using this industry standard compliant modeling. And as you go through it, and specifically in the Mindzie platform, you're able to develop these models project-based. So the platform is designed to meet you the way you work. So you can create different projects for different clients, storing all of their models in one place. If you've ever worked, and I'm sure you have, on many different client projects, you'll know that sometimes even when you deliver the package, they quickly lose it, or they quickly forget where it went, and they come back to you and say, can you resend it? You're able to package up the entire project, deliver it to the client, and give it to them so that they have access to it again. So nothing gets lost, everything stays standardized, and everything is stored in one consistent platform for you. So let's flip over to the Mindzie platform here and have a look. So I'm going to switch screens here quickly, and we're going to flip over into Mindzie for a minute. So as my screen comes up now, you're going to see I'm in the Mindzie, what we call the BPMN Studio, or a standard modeling platform. And in this platform, there's lots of things that we can do, but I'm going to just show you some quick examples here of the advantages of a standardized platform. First, project-based. So you can create projects based on client, based on needs, based on structure. In this example, you'll see I have some imported from other systems. I have some that are system specific, and I also have my own library that we'll talk about in a little bit here that I've started to create. But within each of these project folders, I can enter the project folder and I can start to create new models. And right from the platform, because it is standardized, it is designed for consultant and customer use and designed to support a wide range of how do I go from either existing models, being able to import them from scratch, or from whatever other documentation I've been provided into a model for that client. And during this webinar, we're going to show you a couple of quick examples here. But if I just start from scratch, you can see the simplest way, a full standardized BPMN editor. So I can start to create things, add gateways, add tasks, add events, and draw out the model as I normally would from just scratch or whatever information that I have from the client, really the manual way. But as part of today's webinar, we're going to show you some advantages of using the mindzie platform and how we can quickly turn nothing into something, or take your client documentation and turn it into something really quickly. So let's flip back and share back out my presentation. And as we look at this, there are a number of different ways that we can rapidly help with a client engagement. The first is taking whatever information that you have and being able to convert it into a standard BPMN model right within the mindzie platform. And this happens in minutes, not hours. So the big thing here is consistency and time saving. So we can take whatever notes you may have from the client that you've documented as part of a meeting, any SOPs that they might provide you, any Visio files, images, pictures, and any other information that you get from the client. Take all of that and convert it now into standard BPMN notation. So we're now taking all of that documentation in whatever format it might be, standardizing it and converting it into a library that not only you, but also the customer can start to use moving forward. And instead of rebuilding from scratch, we're leveraging all of the information that's buried across all of these customer files. So regardless of what the source is, we turn it into that standard notation and we do it in minutes. And as we think about doing that, we may have all of this different documentation. If you're lucky enough, maybe they have some BPMN files that you can import. Maybe they have some Visio drawings that they've already done that you can now standardize and import and convert right into BPMN processes. Or you can simply describe it in plain language. And more for organizations that are making this shift, right? Maybe they've have new compliance standards that they need to follow. Maybe they just want to be more process oriented. Maybe they realize there's a lot of tribal knowledge leaving the organization, or maybe they just realize that having standard documented processes makes their organization run better. Whatever that case is, mindzie has the tools to allow you to rapidly help that customer get to where they need to be, including simply being able to generate from plain language. So you can literally go into the platform, give it whatever information you need, and allow the mindzie tool now to translate that into a standard BPMN notation for you. So describe it in plain language in any language, right? We are language agnostic, and have mindzie AI draft it into a complete BPMN compliant in minutes. So let's flip back and let's watch AI do the heavy lifting. And we'll show you a specific example. So I'm just going to flip back over to the platform again. And bear with me while I share up my screen. And as it comes up now, let me show you specifically how we can translate these various files into anything that you need. So right within the platform, as you saw before, if I simply click Create New Model, I get a number of different options here. So if I have Visio files, I can click and quickly import a Visio file. If I have SOPs, I can feed it an SOP. If I have pictures, I can give it a picture. I can start from scratch, as we saw from the last example. But for now, we're going to describe it in chat. And describing it in chat is extremely helpful, because think of being able to provide mindzie anything that you have around this process. If you sat in a meeting and were able to document different notes from all of the different departments and people that are involved in the project, and you want to translate them into a business process, you can cut and paste them right here. For some of our clients, they've gotten even more advanced now, and they leverage AI to translate that recording into notes and cut and paste the notes here. So there are various different techniques that you can use when we talk about describing it in a chat, and it can be as advanced or as simple as you want. But on top of that, mindzie comes embedded with a number of different templates, depending on your industry, your use case, and what you're doing. We can do as simple as, I want an invoice approval process. And mindzie has a full documented template that you can use, and simply click a button and it will start generating the diagram for you. Now, depending on the complexity or how advanced that diagram is, this could be done in a few seconds. This could take a few minutes. It really depends. The reason why it can take a couple of minutes is this, and the mindzie platform goes beyond standard, hey, I've just dumped AI and information into OpenAI. I've dumped it into Claude or whatever other AI tool that you use. We go through a multi-step process. So not only does it convert it into BPMN, it also goes through a full QA process to ensure that the conversion was done correctly, that it is done fully BPMN compliant, and that the output that you get is ready and usable. So it's more than just a single step. It's a multi-layered approach to ensure that the outputs are accurate and usable based on the inputs that you need. As it goes through and does this, you'll see in my scenario, I've actually got it checked to email me when it's ready. So these models that might take a few minutes that maybe are more complex, maybe we've thrown a complex SOP at it or something more that could take a few minutes, I can literally just feed it into the tool and get an email when ready and then go back and look at that model. And these are done by using a feature in Mindzie called AI jobs. And the AI jobs will run in the background and do whatever conversion I need. So let's flip over to this one where we've done a Visio conversion. And you can see here, I simply uploaded a Visio file. And what it's done is it's taken that initial Visio workbook and converted it into BPMN standard format that now I can look at in more detail. I can edit and make changes. And the other thing that I also want to point out is once these files are complete and have been created by the tool, of course, I can edit them now and go into our manual mode and start making changes, moving things around, adding different swim lanes or anything else that I need. But what you can also do is leverage the AI job and add more information. So now that the model has been created, I can simply describe changes. I want to add new departments and I want new swim lanes and whatever you want to change or modify in the model, you can simply just describe it to the mindzie AI agent and let it do the work for you. So not only can you edit it, you can simply describe it and let the file or let the model go ahead and do the work for you. And the outputs are all kinds of different things. You can see that our AI job for our supplier invoice is now completed. It's created the model that is now in my library that I can go and edit and make changes as needed. And they can be as advanced or as simple as you need to deliver on that client project. So we're going to flip back over to our presentation here quickly and continue. So the benefit here is now we can never start from scratch again, right? It's really about not just time saving, but being efficient and ensuring that what we deliver to the client is reusable by them. Again, because these are standard BPMN notation, they can be applied to any tool that's available. And that everything that we are compliant or that we are delivering to the client, sorry, is also QA and audited internally by the platform as well. So we know that we are delivering accurate, usable BPMN models that are fully compliant. And what this does now is allow us to not only deliver these standard notation that are fully QA'd, but make them reusable across clients. So as we start to think about how we become more efficient in what we do, we can reuse the different models that we've created within the Mindzie platform across different clients. And to show you some handy features, I'm going to flip back to the platform and show you some quick tips and tricks. So as we think about using the mindzie platform, there are a couple of features built right in. One, the idea of projects. So we can have different projects across different clients, different things that we're working on, whether it be system-based, client-based, or anything in between. But we can also start to leverage the platform to build up our own library. so that we can more rapidly reuse models across clients. And for my example, I made it very obvious and I created a project that's called My Library. And in my library, I have a number of different models that I have created. I have one for an Oracle material management, I have HR onboarding, I have SAP P2P. This allows me to rapidly explore these models, customize them to the way that I believe industry standards should be. And again, they could be industry specific, they can be geography specific, they can be system specific. But now I end up with my entire library of reusable, repurposable models that are generic. So again, non-customer specific in this case. I keep them as a library or a starting point for projects that I can then really easily apply to the different scenarios and apply and deploy into different customer projects. Built into the platform as well is the ability to publish out these models as well. So I may have draft ones that I am playing with that aren't quite ready for customer use, and I may have published ones that I've shared, and the published ones end up in a repository. So these are sort of my finalized generic business process models that I can now leverage across different organizations and different customer engagements. So again, think of them now as you're building a repository or a library all in the system that you can reuse across customer engagements very rapidly. So it really allows you to truncate that time and make sure that most of your client engagement is about optimizing these models and helping the client deliver true value rather than just sitting in a tool and trying to draw out different models that you deliver as part of your final package. So let's flip back to our presentation here and go through a few more insightful tips. So as we think of now using this standardized platform, you've seen how we can rapidly take any piece of information that you might get from a client and turn it into a standardized model that is reusable, repurposable, and can be delivered to the client. And it really means that you are now handing off polished models that the client can keep. Some of the interesting things about the platform as well is, of course, we talked about this idea of standard BPMN 2.0 compliant models that can be used across any system that supports it, not just the mindzie platform. But the other interesting part about the mindzie platform is if you have clients that don't have a standardized modeling tool within their organization, you can share directly from mindzie and invite them to access the mindzie models. You can also export it as a package for them, but you can also export it into other standardized formats as well. So if they don't have a BPMN modeling platform, you can export right from the mindzie tool to things like Visio, images, create markdown files, and all kinds of other things that they can save into their own library, their SharePoint, or anywhere else that they put them. So even without BPMN 2.0, they can leverage and use whatever tools that they have available, including Visio. That means that at the end of your client demos, you can package everything up. You can deliver it to the client as a finalized package in whatever format they need, whether it be BPMN, whether it be Visio, whether it be images, anything in between, so that what you're delivering at the end of the day is now the standard reusable format, but also with the flexibility to deliver it in the final package that the client needs. And as we think about this, it really means that you are able to take the mindzie platform and use it as one standardized client delivery solution. Standardizing BPMN models, rapidly leveraging the mindzie AI agents to convert whatever information you have. Again, SOPs, Visio files, images, or simply meeting notes, all into BPMN 2.0 compliant, or as shown in this webinar, leverage some of mindzie's pre-built templates based on different use cases and scenarios to rapidly have the tool build these BPMN models for you. Share them, save them as libraries, and reuse them across client engagements, having your own now standard repository based on any different dimensions that you see fit. Now, hopefully this is extremely helpful and you understand now some of the benefits of using a standardized tool rather than having all of these one-off tools. Even if your client does not have a modeling platform, as a top-tier consultant delivering results to your client, using a standardized platform like mindzie specifically allows you to provide that next level of attention to detail for your client. So one, even if they don't have a platform, you can export it into whatever format that they need. But two, as part of the package, you can now educate them on the value of having a standardized platform and still give them all of those BPMN 2.0 files as part of their package so that when they move to a standardized platform, they can take all of that work that they paid for from you and quickly import it to get started. So to help our clients who have joined us today and our consultants who are looking to explore this and start applying it to their own practice, every attendee will get free access to the mindzie BPMN Studio. And yes, I said free. So you will be able to start accessing the tool, leveraging everything, and creating all of these models, these projects, exporting them, taking your client notes and turning them into standard BPMN models, all for free. So I would encourage everybody who has joined today to go to signup.mindziestudio.com and access your free mindzie BPMN tenant today to get started. You'll see all kinds of other tools within the platform, including the ability for it to audit your BPMN models, tell you things that might be wrong with it as part of a QA process, and all kinds of other features and benefits in addition to the ones that we have shared today. So again, easy, quick, and free access to get started for your consulting practice. signup.mindziestudio.com. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone for joining. Hopefully you've seen some benefits and why you should apply a standardized process modeling platform to your practice and to every single client project, and how it's not only going to benefit you and saving you time and effort, but it will also benefit the client in the long run, having these standardized models that are transparent and industry standard. Thank you, everyone. My name is James Henderson, and I encourage you to visit www.mindzie.com for more information on us. And once again, for your free access, please visit signup.mindziestudio.com.